Welcome back, everybody, to another wonderful session of CSE 8A. Okay. Today we're going to be going over some review for the midterm. We're basically going to try and have this pretty open-ended. Any questions that you may have, we'll be going over them. And I'm going to prioritize your questions before we go into any exercises, okay? Because what I want to do is go straight to the material that y'all need help in. And I want it to be as open as possible, no judgment whatsoever. If you need help from stuff from lecture 1, I'm totally fine with it. If you need help with things from lecture from yesterday, totally fine with it, okay? I'm here to help you all out with any and all things to do with 8A so far, okay? No silly questions, as in there are no such thing as silly questions. Ask any question that you'd like, any at all. What does a print do? That's fine. I'll let you know what that does, okay? It prints something out in the console, right? I will help you with anything that you need. All right, quick announcements. PA3 is due today. Make sure to submit that when you can. And you still have like those 2 slip days sort of policy. If you already used up, if you've used up 4 of your slip days so far, then you only have 1 less slip day remaining. Remember, you only have 5 total slip days. That's right, right? Yeah. If one of the T's can just look at the website to double check. But I think right now we have it so that you only get a total of 5 slip days for the whole course, and you can use 2 at a time at any given assignment, but a total of 5 for the whole course. So if you use 2 slip days for PA1 and 2 slip days for PA2, then that means for PA3, you only have 1 slip day remaining. And all of the PAs, you only have 1 slip day remaining. If you use it for PA3, then you have no slip days remaining for the rest of PA. Okay? PA4 is already released. Grades for PA1 and lectures 1 through 9 are uploaded and posted. Let me know if there's any issues with that, but all of you should have gotten your PA grades posted already, as well as your lecture attendance, and I think as well your lab attendance, okay? Lab attendance and lab participation, right? All of that should have been updated right now. And if you have any questions, please let me know, okay? Since this is like about grades, see me about this after class rather than during class sessions, okay? And then lastly, of course, midterm tomorrow. Where's the midterm?
The basement.
The basement. Which number?
260.
260. How's gonna stop you? What material are we covering?
All from today, from lecture 1.
Lecture 1 all the way up until now. That's right. Did we let them know exactly what's going to be on the... Oh, we did say that there was going to be a coding challenge, right? Yeah, there will be a coding challenge, okay? So basically the type of stuff that you do in your PA, that kind of like, you will have a coding challenge. You'll be able to run your stuff and test your stuff, yes?
Oh, that was
Yeah, you'll be able to run your things. It's totally fine. Test your code. That should be totally fine. Okay. All right. But you're not allowed outside resources. So while you're taking the exam, you cannot bring up ChatGPT. You cannot bring up code help. You cannot bring up any notes. Okay? No notes. Closed notes. All right? Just as a reminder. All right. So yesterday we were talking a lot about these frames, right? We're talking about the local frame. So local frame, I didn't say the word local, but local frame is basically the frame for any function. So the do something frame, that is a local frame. Any frame that's not the global frame, those are all local frames, okay? So there's such thing as local and global variables. We were starting to talk about that a little bit last time we were here in lecture, and how certain variables could be used inside or outside of the local frame. What variables could be used in the local frame? So for example, do something. What can be used inside the do something frame? Which ones?
Your global variables.
Your global variables. You can use any global variable that you have, right? Inside the local frame. What other variables can you use?
Local variables.
Any local variables. How do you make a local variable?
It's a variable inside a function.
A variable inside the function. You have to create that variable inside the function. How else can you get a local variable in here? You could either 1, create it inside here.
Or bring it when you call it the parameter.
Or 2, you bring it in here. to the parameter. Okay? Any questions so far about local variables and global variables? No, yes, no?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, so you know how on the top it says global bar?
This one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to call it global?
Great question. Let's check this out. Let's try it out. So, let's try here. Lecture 9. This is lecture 9, we're lecture 10, but that's okay. I only really need this to scratch paper. Right? So, let's write this out loud. So we have a global variable called global var, right? And we're going to make that equal to 0. What type is that?
Global.
It's a global variable, but what type is this global variable so far?
Oh,
Int. It is an integer. Okay? Then we're creating a function, do something. Right? And do something right now is saying global var. Right? What else is it doing? Local var is equal to 0. Local var plus equals 1. Global var plus equals 1. Print local variable. Okay. Local variable is equal to local variable. And then I'm just going to print out here. Global var is equal to global var. Okay. And then we're going to do something. And we're going to do something 3 times. Okay. So, this right here, let's just comment this one out really fast. Let's assume that doesn't exist. Okay. Right now, we have this global variable, which is what type is that again? Int. This is an integer. We have a function that does stuff, and then we're going to call that function 3 times. Okay. Let's see what happens when we run this step by step. Oh, whoops. Okay. So as spoilers, there's an error here. So let's just read it from top to bottom, the whole file. As soon as you start reading the file, what happens?
It recognizes the global var.
It recognizes a global var, but before it even knows that there's a global variable, what happens?
Oh, there's a global frame.
There's a global frame that gets created. As soon as you start reading a Python file, you create the global frame. Okay? And in the global frame right now, we have this variable called global var. That's just a variable. We can name it whatever we want. We can name it X, Y, whatever. Right now we call it global variable. Then we read and we see that there's a function called do something. We know that it exists. We don't have to go into it yet, but we just know that it exists. Then we call the function do something. Okay? That means we're going to go inside of the function called do something. All right? We're going inside. Now, as we go inside, it reads line 5. Local var is equal to 0. Where will local var be stored? Here or here? Which frame?
And the second one.
The second one. What's it called?
Do something.
Do something frame. That frame will hold this variable, local var. And we call it local var because it's a local variable. Right? It's a local variable that exists solely inside do something. Right? Then we increment it by 1. So now local var is 1. And now we're going to get the global variable and add 1 to it. Oh! Something's wrong here. Unbound local error. Cannot access local variable global var when it is not associated with a value. You're getting an error. Okay? If you want to access this variable, can I edit this? Other. If you want to access this variable, last time we used the list and we could use the list inside, right? Right? Last time we had something like this, like a list. And let's say instead of global var like that, we say global var dot append 1. Let's try that. When we did that, we saw global var dot append, and we added 1 to it. That's weird. Why is that? How come when it's a list, we can mutate it, And when it's an integer, we get an error. Yes?
Because lists are mutable and ints and strings.
Lists are mutable, ints and floats are not. So here what we're trying to do, we're trying to go to whatever the reference was for global variable and update it. And the global variable is going to say, whoa, 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 you can't do that. You can't do that just yet. Right? Because you never told me about this global variable, which is an integer. Right? Oh, I could have just copy pasted. Look at me. Could have just done that. Sorry about that. Okay, so when you have an integer and you want to start messing around with it, what you can do is basically bring in that global variable into the local frame. Okay, explicitly. All the other times that we did it, it was implicit. It was like we didn't say you couldn't do it, but you could do it with mutable objects, right? With a list. But when you have something that's like an immutable object, like an integer, like a float, like a string, it's going to be a lot harder to bring in that stuff. Right? It's going to be a lot harder to go in and mess around with the global variable, right? You were messing around with global variable before you ever mentioned the global variable inside the local frame. Now, if you want to use the global variable inside the local frame, one way that you can do it is just calling global and then the name of your variable, global variable. Now if we do that, let's see what happens. So we have our global frame, global variable, we see a function called do something, we go inside the function. Then we read line 4 and 5. Okay? Now that you have line 4 in there, global variable, you'll be able to update local variable and you can update the global variable. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes, no, yes, no? Yep. Great. Fantastic. Any questions so far on this? No? Awesome. I think we did cover this yesterday, right? What's going to happen when we run this code? Any guesses? What's it going to print? Will it run? Will there be an error?
An error because the function doesn't know what message it is.
The function doesn't know what message it is. Let's try that out. Let's run that. Oh, it can access it. It knows it's there, but it can't update it. Okay? We're not trying to mutate the message here. This global variable of message of a string, we can read it, but we can't mess with it inside the global variable. Inside the local frame. Local frame of reading. How can we start messing around with the message inside of the local frame? Let's say we want to update message to be, instead of hello, to be goodbye. Take it like it's goodbye. What can we do in here to change message without bringing message inside, like through the parameters or anything like that?
Define message inside the function.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. If we were to do that, or we kind of slightly talked about this yesterday around the end, but what happens here when we do this, we have our global variable of message, right? Hello, it's a string. Then we have a greeting and then we have a goodbye. Oh, dang, we never even call goodbye here. Whoops. Goodbye. Okay. All right, now we're calling goodbye instead of greeting. We have a greeting, we have a goodbye function, all right? Then we could print out before the message is hello, right? Right there. Then we're going to go into the goodbye function. Go inside. Then we say message is equal to goodbye. Okay? We did this yesterday, and watch what's going to happen. When we call a variable of the same name as the global variable inside of a local frame, it creates a local variable. Message inside the local frame is goodbye. Message in the global frame is still hello. Okay? We barely touched on this at the very end of last lecture, but basically, Python, when you're inside the local frame, if you're creating message, right? Message is already created outside the global frame. If you say message is now equal to something else, it's going to assume you mean a new message. Okay? It's not going to update this message. It's going to create its own message variable inside as a local variable. And it's what's called shadowing. This local variable is shadowing the global frame. Okay? The global variable. How can we do it so that when we create message is equal to goodbye inside of here, that instead of creating it in the local frame, we update the global frame message? How can we do that? Yes?
Like global message equals goodbye?
Global message equals goodbye like this?
I think so.
Let's try that out. Oh, we're going to get an error.
Oh.
Invalid syntax. That's okay. Let's try that again. You're getting close though. What we could try to do is this. Global message. Okay. We're just saying inside of the local frame of goodbye, when we talk about message, we're talking about the global message. Okay? Not the local one. The global one. So when we go inside the goodbye, we're updating the global message, not this new local message. But it's only going to know that if you explicitly tell the system, I want to talk about the global message. Okay? So now we see, if we did not have global message, this line 7, if we didn't have that, and we only had line 8, Python's going to assume you mean this new local variable called message. So we bring this up so that you could like kind of just be aware of what you're calling your global variables versus your local variables. Okay? Try to make sure that they have like unique names so that you're not like mixing up between the two. Is that okay? All right. Also, welcome, Ella. I know you walked in, but we're going through basically anything for the midterm, and we're going to cover anything that you want to cover at all. Anything from lecture 1 even, all the way up to lecture from yesterday. Any questions that you have. I'm going to be prioritizing your questions before we get into like practice questions. Okay? Yeah. All right, so you can generally just use global variables inside a function, right? You can use them, you could like refer to them, but you can't update them. But you can update them if you had a global message inside. Okay, we just went through that right. Oh, yes, we just talked about this too. If you do an assignment to a variable in a function, Python assumes you want it local, right? So this message of welcome, since we didn't call global message inside the function, then this frame of greeting is going to assume that message is its own local message. Does that make sense to you all? Yeah. If not, it's okay, and I can revise what I'm talking about here. Okay. Passing parameters into functions. So we've been passing parameters a lot, right? We're saying this function wants to bring something in here. When we're passing in parameters, here's a code example. We have a function called add1 to int. So we have a num plus equals 1, right? And then add1 to list. Let's look at these in here. What's going to happen when I run the following code? What's going to happen when I run this code? We have some functions. We have a global variable of n. We're going to add one to int. We have a global variable of numbers, a list of numbers, and we're going to add one to a list. Okay. What's going to happen here? Any guesses? We can start off with one of them. What's going to happen when we run this block of code right here? N equals 1, print before n, add 1 to int, print after n. What's going to happen? Yes?
I think it'll print 1 twice.
It's going to print 1 twice. Why?
Because like you put n into the function, add 1 to int,
Mm-hmm. Right here.
but num isn't like mutable.
Num isn't mutable, right? What is num right now? What type?
An int.
An int, right? So anything that you update inside the function as an int stays within the function. We're not talking about, like the reference that we're referring to, num is its own thing now, okay? Num is its own thing. Let's look at that. We read our functions, n is equal to 1 in the global frame. We print out before, n is 1. We go into the function, add 1 to int, and now we have this variable called num. Is this a global or local variable? Local variable, okay? Num. We update num plus equals 1, so num is now 2. We're not returning anything, that's fine. You don't need to have a return value, or a return, right, inside the conditional, the function. Then we leave the function, and we print out after n. Remember, when we're done with the local frame, anything that's in the local frame, what happens to it? It disappears. You crumple it up, throw it away, right? So then we threw it away. So num may have been 2, but num is not here with us anymore. RIP. But n, we still have n. N is here in the global frame, and n is still 1. What's going to happen with numbers?
It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then 2, 3, 4.
And then 2, 3, 4. Why is that?
This lists are mutable.
Lists are mutable. Let's see what happens. We have numbers in the global frame, 1, 2, 3. We print out what's before. Before is 1, 2, 3. Then we go to add 1 to list, and we're passing in numbers. And now inside of our local frame, we have our local variable still, nums. But this reference, nums, is referring to the same object as numbers is referring to. This same object, 1, 2, 0, 1, oh, yeah, 1, 2, 3. This list of 1, 2, 3. Okay? It's the same exact object still. Because lists are mutable. So when you're passing it in to the function, you can still mutate with it. Okay? So now, we go into this for loop for I in range of length of nums. What's I going to be? What's the very first value of I? 1? Why would it be 1? Because of this? Maybe it's 1. You have an answer? 0. Why would it be 0?
Because range, when it doesn't have a start point, it always starts at 0.
Right. So remember, we're looking at the range function here. For I in range of the length of numbers. What's the length of numbers? 3. So we're going to go from 0, 1, 2, 3.
0, 1, and 2.
0, 1, and 2. Because the stop is exclusive. We will not reach that 3. Right? So the range of the length of numbers, the range of 3, is 0, 1, 2. We start off at 0. So I starts off at 0. There it is. I is 0 now. What's nums at position 0? 1. If we increment it by 1, what's it going to be now? 2. We just updated it. We updated it, and now it's 2. Then what will I be? I was 0. What is I now? 1. Nums at 1 was 2, and now it's going to be 3. What's I now? 2. Nums at position 2 is 3. Now it's going to be 4. We finish our for loop. We don't need to return anything. We leave. And now we print out whatever numbers is. And numbers got updated to 2, 3, and 4. And that's because the lists are mutable. Okay? So when you pass it in, right, you pass it in as a parameter, the mutable object can be updated. The immutable object, in this case the integer, right, num and n, that will not be updated on the global frame. Does that make sense? Yes, no, yes, no? Any confusion? No? Alrighty. Moving on. Oh, whoa. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. What happens now if we were to do this? Ah! Panic. That's what I do. Ah! Panic. Here we go. What happens if we do this now? Same code, but now our names are different. Now we have num here, and num is up here. Nums is here. Nums is up there. Will anything change, yes or no? Let's take a wild guess. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, things will change, or yes, things will stay the same?
Things will change.
Things will change. What will change?
The numbers in nums.
The numbers in nums will change. Okay? Oh, sorry. So you're saying the numbers in nums will change from 1, 2, 3 to 2, 3, 4?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Sorry. That was my bad. Now that we've changed the variable names, right? So before we had, oh my goodness. Okay. Before we had this, n is 1, before n, add 1 to int n, after n, and we had numbers. Numbers 1, 2, 3, before numbers, add 1 to list numbers, and after numbers. But now, let's change it to this. Same function stuff, but now we're changing our variable names. Num is 1, before num, add 1 to int num, after num. Will that change at all? That's what I meant, sorry. Will things change from the code that we had before to the code that we have now, afterwards? Will anything change, or will things stay the same? Any guesses? Things will change, or things will stay the same? Go into it. We have these two functions. We have a global frame of num, global variable, sorry, of num. Print the num. Add 1 to int num. Remember, we're adding num through the parameter. Num is an integer. So even though we're updating num inside of the function, the num that gets updated is the local variable num, not the global variable of num. Does that make sense? How about numbers? Sorry, nums. Nums is 1, 2, 3. Print before. We're going to go add 1 to list nums. Is nums in the local frame going to create its own object? Or will it be pointing to the same object?
Pointing to the same.
That's right. They'll point to the same. But now we have a nums global variable and a nums local variable. But the nums local and global variables are pointing to the same thing. Okay? So when we're updating nums in here, are we updating through the local or the global variable? The local, right? Why the local? Because we brought it in, right? We brought it in with us. Now inside here, inside the function, we never call it global nums. So when we refer to nums, we're not talking about the global variable nums. We're talking about nums inside the local frame. Okay? So things get updated, right? And so at the end of the day, things stayed the same, right? Between this slide and this slide, these two things, they stayed the same. Because what's updating is just the name of the local variables. That's it. Okay? All right. What happens when we do this? We have val A, print before val. The function f takes in the parameter val. You go into the function, x equals b now. What's going to happen here? What's going to get printed? Yeah? Oh, sorry, just thinking.
Maybe an error on F val.
Maybe an error on f val. Why would that be?
Just since strings are immutable.
Strings are immutable.
So when we want to pass the val, which is A, the Python says, I don't know if it's, you're trying to pass A, but it's B, since it's.
So here you're trying to pass into the function f this variable called val, right? You go into the into the function called f. And inside, you're saying the error will happen here?
When you try to print.
Oh, here?
Yeah. It'll say, what's x? Let's try to pass val. But since x is b.
X is b now. Let's try it out.
Ah.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's totally fine. Let's try it out. Boom. Copy that over here. So, reminder, we read our function, val is A. We print before we do anything, before it's A. We go into the function, bringing with us this variable called val. Val is a string, right? When we go into the function, however, just because strings are immutable, right? Just because strings are immutable, this reference, x right now is a reference, and it's referring to an object called A, right? It's not referring to the same object of A. It has its own local object. The local object of A and the local reference called x. So when we update x equal to b, can we do that? Yes or no? Let me ask you a separate question. Can you do this? Could you do that? So that means in here, you could do the same thing too. So when we update x to be b, x is b now, but val stays the same. You're not updating val, right? Val will stay the same because yes, strings are immutable. So that means when you pass it into the function, you have this reference x, but it's referring to whatever val was at that point. In that case, it's A. That's fine. A. So when you're going into the function, when you're going into the function for the very first time, x is A, because val was A. But when you update x, you can update x Because now this x variable is a local variable that you can update to be whatever you want. It could be b. It could be a totally different type. It could be a float if you want, right? Or an int. Or a list even. You can update it to whatever you want it to be. This reference right here, x. X used to be a, but now I'm making x equal to b. So when you print inside is b. You leave the function. Then you print after val. What will val be? Will val be updated, yes or no?
No, because it's outside the function.
It's outside the function, right? Outside the function, val never got updated. Val doesn't get updated inside the function because strings are immutable. So that means at the very end, val is still a. After, a.
Okay.
Yeah? That makes sense now?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah? Heard a light bulb moment there? Love those. Love those. Any questions with this so far? No? So yeah, in Python, arguments are passed by value, meaning changes to a parameter inside the function don't change the argument outside. Okay? They don't change the stuff outside. Unless it is a global, right? If you put global inside. Another way that it could change is if the type is a list. If it's a mutable object, then when you change stuff inside the function, it will change it outside the function. Okay. Okay. Let's yeah. Oh yeah, we talked about this already before. Right? X in the global frame and in the local frame, it just depends on what you name your functions, right? Python will assume X is the local when you're inside. Okay, topics to review for today. Here's a couple things that we realized we could probably cover, but I'm willing to talk about anything that y'all want, okay? Anything that y'all have questions on before we get started on any of this. And if we go through all of your questions and we run out of time, that's totally fine by me. Because what I want to do is help you all with whatever things you have in your mind. Things that you may be confused with. Anything at all. Or are y'all ready for the midterm? Kevin, you ready for the midterm? You passed 8A like years ago. Oh, sorry. yeah.
Sorry.
Big shot. Yeah. Okay? No topics that anyone wants to cover? Seeing some hesitant hands, maybe? Maybe, kind of, sort of?
Maybe for loops inside of a function.
For loops inside of a function. Great. Let's do that. So, let's make a for loop inside of a function. Okay? Let's have this function called do something. Oh, do something. Right. And then you want a for loop. Let's say we're gonna. What are we gonna do? We can increment one, or actually we can clear a whole list and make them all empty strings. Okay. So let's do that. So we have. Do you want to pass in a list? What is let's do this. List A. Okay. So then for I in range of length of list A, colon. We're gonna make list A at position I. We're gonna make it equal to an empty string. So no matter what it was inside, we're gonna change it to be an empty string. Then we can have my list is equal to, let's say Tyler, let's say Ella, let's say Caesar, and let's say okay. Let's add in Chappie too. Chappie's having a good time back there. So when we do something and we pass in my list, what's going to happen? Yes.
It should turn like each object inside the list into a blank string.
It will change everything inside here into a blank string. Okay? So when we print out my list at the very end, run it, what you get is a list of empty strings. The reason for that is as follows. We have our function, right? It's called do something. It's going to get read, and it's on the global frame, and we can use it whenever we want. And in the global frame, we also have something called myList, which is a list of strings. Tyler, Ella, Caesar, Angel, Chadwick. Action. Once we have our list, we're going to go inside the function called do something. And inside do something, we're taking with us my list, right? When we take in my list and we call it list A inside the do something frame, list A, list A is referring to the same object, right? Because lists are mutable. With me so far? Yeah. Then we have a for loop. This for loop is going to become, what is I? For I in range of length of list A. What's the first what's the first value of I? What should it be?
0.
0. And why would it be 0?
Because when it's range, it goes from it starts at 0.
When its range, it starts at 0. If we don't give it a start number, right? If we just give it one number, right now, what number are we giving it?
The length of the list A.
The length of list A. What's the length of list A?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's like saying range of 5. So range of 5, you get 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't get 5 because it's exclusive. Okay. So I is going to be 0, right? Inside the function. And now we're saying list A at position I. What's currently right now list A at position I? At position, it's Tyler. Right? I is 0. List A at position 0. List A is this list. At position 0, it's Tyler. And we're going to make that position, list A at position I, which is 0, we're going to make it equal to an empty list. So we're going to basically remove Tyler. Sorry, Tyler. Gone but not forgotten. You know, he's here with us today. Then we do the same thing. I gets incremented up by 1. Because in a for loop, we go through a list, right? In this case, we have the list of range. Range of 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I starts at 0, then I will be 1, then I will be 2, then I will be 3, then I will be 4. Okay? So then, list at position 1, it was Ella. Then Ella gets turned into an empty string. So sorry, Ella. Gone but not forgotten. And we do the same thing for each one of these people. Caesar's gone, then Angel's gone, then Chabui gone. Unfortunate. And it basically loops through whatever's inside the for loop, right? It does everything inside here, over and over and over again. Then we finish our for loop, we finish our function, we leave, and we print out my list. What is my list right now?
The empty.
It's a list with 5 empty strings in it. Okay? Let me print that out. Does that make sense? Or what is like confusing about the for loops inside of a function? Do you have like a certain problem in mind? Or does this kind of like cover what you were thinking?
Yeah, like that one's kind of covering what I was thinking.
Okay. Is there anything else that you were thinking that maybe you need help with?
I think there's I don't know if there's an example.
Yeah.
I forgot which, I think it was it was like the if, like it was like an if statement and then with the for loop.
If statement inside of a for loop. Okay. We can do that. How about this? We have, let's do these mine here. I want to be in there. Okay. So now what we can do is, if list A at position I is equal to Ismael, we can now make it like that. Now, anytime we're in the for loop, if we find list A at position I to be Ismail. We're going to update it to remove Ismail from the list. Dang. Cruel. But it is what it is. Let's run that and see what happens. Before we finish running this, what should we see? What should happen? What are we printing at the very end?
My list.
My list. What will my list be at the very end?
Should it be, Ishmael should be with link, quotations and just Tyler and just the rest of the list should be fine.
So this will be gone, Ismail, is what you're saying? This will be gone with an empty string?
Okay.
Then Tyler, Ella, Caesar, Angel, and Chapu would all stay the same?
Okay.
Boom. That's exactly right. That's exactly what happens. And the reason for that is because when we go inside the function, we have a for loop. Again, I will just be the range of the length of the list. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because now we added one more into it. If list A at position I is equal to Ismail, right now, what is list A at position I? I is 0. What will it be? Ismail. So is Ismail equal to Ismail? Yes, that's true. Since it's true, we go inside the conditional statement, right? And do whatever it says inside the conditional statement, inside the if. Right now, the if says we're just going to update that same position with an empty string. We go back up. Now I is 1. What is list A at position I of 1? Tyler. Is Tyler equal to Ismail? No. We are equals, by the way. We're not we're not equal. We're not equal in strings. Okay. So because that's false, Tyler's not equal to Ismail, the strings. Do we go in here at all? No. Okay. We never go in there unless it says Ismail, and we do that over and over again. Check it to see. Never comes up. So then we print out my list, and it's like that. Does that make more sense of like what you were looking for? Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions? What if we were to do this? Can we do this?
Yeah, but then wouldn't it just rate after first, the first iteration of the for loop?
So what would happen if we were to do this? What would happen? What was going to get printed with my list?
Would just Tyler be the one with empty quotes?
Tyler would be gone with empty quotes. Then Ella, Caesar, Angel, and Champui. Does everyone understand why that happens? We have this break. Let me put his one in here. I don't want to remove Tyler. Sorry about that, Tyler. We're back here. Tyler's back. Okay, I put his one in here. What's happening here is that yes, we have our for loop. We have our for loop. We're bringing in the list called my list. We're doing something. We're going to do something. I is 0, so then list A at position I, whatever is at position I, which is 0. Right now it's Ismail. We're going to remove that and make it an empty string. Then we're going to hit break. What happens when we hit a break in a loop?
We go off.
You immediately leave. You're out of there. Okay? You're out of there immediately. That means we leave the for loop. Then we leave the function. Then we print out my list. What if I were to do this? Well, I'm done with the loop. What happens now? What's going to get printed onto the console?
It wouldn't read the print statement, right?
It wouldn't read the print statement? Turns out that it would, actually. Okay? I think I know where the misconception is coming from though. So we have my list, we're going to do something. We're going to do something for I in range of length of list A. We go to the very first element, which is Ismail, and we're going to update it to be an empty string. We break out. But when we break out, remember, break is for loops. All right? Break is for loops. We're still in the function. We're still in the function. And we're going to be able to print out, wow, I'm done with the loop. We're going to print it out. Wow, I'm done with the loop. And we still read that because we broke out of a loop. We didn't leave the function. What word would I have put here instead of break so that we left the function as well? Return. If we had return, then we never read that print statement. Ever. Okay? Anything after a return, don't even think about it. Okay? That's what would happen. But since we did break, we broke out of a loop, but we didn't break out of the function. We didn't leave the function. We didn't return outside of the function. So we're still in the function. We just broke out of this loop. That make sense? I brought this up because you could still use break in a for loop. We've been using break a lot for while loops, which makes sense because a lot of times while loops, we have like while true. We're trying to do something over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and we don't know how many times we're going to do it. And if it's infinite, we want to get out at some point, and we can with a break. But break is not only for while loops. You can also use it for for loops. Okay? Great. Does that answer your question about conditionals and for loops inside of a function? Awesome. Any other questions? Any questions at all? I see some hesitant hands. Remember, I'm here to answer any and all questions. If you need to know what print does, I'll let you know. If you need to know what input is, I'll let you know. If you need to know about call stacks, I'll let you know. Anything at all to get prepared for the midterm tomorrow. If not, then I'll do these other topics to review. If no one has any questions, I can go ahead and keep on going.
Yeah, maybe the list methods, maybe like append or index.
Awesome. Let's do that. Let's do that. So there's a couple list methods that we've learned so far. Append is one of them. So let's call it my list. And we're going to make it an empty list so far. Empty list. My list, you could append. And what do we want to append in here? I don't know. This time Audrey. Okay. Can we use it more than once? Yeah. Append. Kevin. Ooh. That's it. He's that guy. So these are some things that we can use with list methods. Appending. What will an append do?
It will add to the list.
It'll add to the list where? At the beginning?
Yeah. Oh, well, it'll add audio to the end after Kevin.
So when I run this, when I print out my list, what's going to be printed out? It's going to be a list. It's going to have Audrey and Kevin in it. But what's the first name and what's the second name? So like, what's my list at position 0? Here. Audrey. Okay. Append will just put stuff at the end. Put stuff at the end. Always. Okay. So here we have Audrey and Kevin. There's another thing that we have called insert. Did we talk about insert before? Maybe, maybe not.
I think we showed it.
We showed it?
That big chunk.
If we showed it, then I'll show you right now. Insert takes two things. A number, which is an index, and then something that you want to put in, some object. Let's put Ismail this time. Okay. What this does is it says, I'm going to insert something into my list. I want to insert it at position 0, and then I'm going to put this, Ismail. So after this, what happens when I print out my list?
We'll add additional to the list.
Yes. But what will the list be? Will it be Audrey, Kevin, Ismail? Would it be Audrey, Ismail, Kevin? Or would it be Ismail, Audrey, Kevin?
It'll be Ismail, audio, Kevin.
Yes. Because I'm inserting Ismail at position 0. What if I did this? What will it be now?
Audrey is my Kevin.
Audrey, Ismail, Kevin. We're not erasing Kevin. Kevin used to be position 1. But we're grabbing Ismail. We're going to insert it at position 1. And then just shift everything to the right. Okay? That's what insert does. What other list method do we have? Index and insert. Oh, insert's right there. Okay. Okay, what about index? My list, index. Let's say we're trying to find the index of Chao Hui. Let's look for the index of Chao Hui. What's going to happen when I... Wait. Oh. Oops. Unable to connect. My internet's fine. Did y'all disconnect from the internet at all? You did?
Let me check.
That is unfortunate. Oh, we're back. We're back. What's going to happen when I run this? Index is going to give me the index number of whatever I'm looking for, right? So, actually, if I were to put Ismail, what would this be telling me?
It's an index 1.
Index 1. Let's run it. Waiting for server. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, nothing happened. Why is that?
Oh, you saying print.
We didn't print it. Let's print it out. Print. Whatever that is. So you're saying this should be 1? We run it. It's 1. Okay. Awesome. There it is. Okay. It's 1. Because it's going to go into my list, it's going to look for whatever this is, and the first time it sees it, it's going to give it to you. The first time it sees it. So, what happens if I do this? My list.append. It's my. Okay? So now I have, let me go like this. So before I get the index, now I have Audrey, Ismail, Kevin, Ismail. Okay? We have this list. What's going to happen when I do my list.index Ismail? There's 2 Ismail. Which one will it give me?
The first one.
The first one, which is this one. So what number is that?
1.
1. Boom, it's 1. Even though there's more than one instance of Ismail, it's as soon as it finds the first one, I'm out. Here it is. It's 1. Okay? What if you try to look for something that isn't there? What number will it give you?
Negative 1.
Negative 1? Let's try it out. Oh!
There.
We're going to get an error. Index will give you an error if you're looking for something that does not exist in there. Okay? So when we look for Chahui, who's not on the list, then we get an error. Sorry, Chahui. No hard feelings. That makes sense? Awesome. All right. What other list? Audrey or Kevin or Chahui, could you look to see the reference sheet to see what other list methods we will be providing? We have append, we have insert, we have index. Is there anything else that we've covered so far with list methods? Split? Great one. Fantastic one. Great. But split is a string method. Okay? String method, this is a string method that will create a list, but it's not a list method. That's a very good distinction though. A split. So how do we use split? Let's say we have my string, and that is equal to Ismail, Audrey, Kevin, Chahui. Let's say we have that. That's all one string. And we want to print out my string dot split at this character of the dash. What's going to get printed out here? with split. Any guesses? Yes.
It will create like a list, which will have 4 things inside of it.
What 4 things will be there?
Ismael, Adria, Kevin, and Charlie.
Run that. There it is. Split on a string, splitting a string. We'll go to that string. Ah, it's done. It'll go to that string, look at it, and say, okay, anytime I see this character, I'm going to grab it, remove it, and make this an element inside the string. And this is a string called Ismael. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to keep on looking. It finds this one. I'm going to remove that. So anything before that, it's going to be Adria. Then I go to the next one, remove that. It's Kevin. We go to the end of the string. There's no more things. So this is the last element. Okay? It's the last element. So we create a list. Okay? What if we were to do this? Let's see how fast I can do this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Is the alphabet. And I try to split on, what's the middle letter of the alphabet? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. What's going to happen when I do this? My string dot split M.
It'll create 2 lists. No,
2 lists?
2 elements in 1 list.
2 elements in 1 list. What will the first element have?
A through N.
A through M? Inclusive or exclusive?
Oh, yeah, I think it's exclusive.
It's exclusive.
Yeah,
So we ignore this M.
So it's going to be A to the L.
A through L.
And
Then the second element will be what?
M through Z.
M through Z. M inclusive or exclusive?
Oh, exclusive. So
Exclusive? So N?
yeah, and
N through Z or M through Z? Let's try it out.
M through Z.
M through Z. Final answer?
Yeah.
Locking it in? Oh, so close. Anytime we split, it's like we're removing it. We're like grabbing it, boop, and we're taking it out. Okay? And anything on the left is one element, and anything to the right is another element. Okay? Took it out, boop. And now A through L is here, N through Z is here, and there's no M to be found. That's why when we have this being this, right? When we had it like this, and we ran that, there's no dashes anymore. There's no dashes. Because when we split, we grabbed it, boom, it's out, this is out, this is out, and we created these elements. That makes sense on split? Great. Any other list methods from the back that we're going to be providing for them?
Yes, dot index,
Yeah, we did that one.
Reverse.
Reverse. That's
Dot
cool.
remove.
Dot remove. Okay. Let's do reverse and remove. Let's do those. So far we have this list, right? Audrey Ismail, Kevin Ismail. If we were to do my list, dot reverse, reverse, whoop, reverse, reverse, then we print out my list. What's going to get printed out?
All of the would be Ismail, Kevin, Ismail, Adrian.
Run that. Hey, that's exactly right. It just grabs a list and reverses it. Whoop. Okay. Backwards. That's reverse. We also have dot remove. So let's say my list dot remove. We want to remove a value. We're going to remove Ismail. There's too many Ismailis in there. Okay. So now, after we reverse, we have Ismael, Kevin, Ismael, Audrey. When I do my list dot remove Ismael, what will be the resulting list?
Would you just take one?
Maybe it'll take just one. Let's try it out. Let's run it. Boom. That's right. It takes out the very first instance of Ismael, and then it stops. So there's another Ismael there. We only remove one of them. Okay. That makes sense? Yes, no, yes, no? Awesome. Any other list methods?
Join.
Join, yeah, the string method, join. Yeah. So we have all these. Right. And then we have this list. So we have oh yeah, we can use my list. So right now my list is what? It is Kevin, Ismael, and Audrey. If you want to join us all together in harmony, hand in hand, okay? What we can do is use the string method, like this. We have a string, dot join, and we want to join together my list. My list. Okay? When we do this, what's going to get printed out? What it does is it grabs this list called my list and is going to join all the elements together on a string. And this is an empty string or a string with a space. This is a string with a space. So that means we're going to have Kevin, space, Ismael, space, Audrey, space. Like that. So if we were to change this to a dash, what will happen?
Every single one have a dash between the names.
So it'll be Kevin, dash, Ismael, dash, Audrey. Dash? No. Only joining things together. Right? This gets joined with this, that's a dash. This gets joined with this, that's a dash. This doesn't get joined with anything afterwards, no dash at the end. Okay? That make sense? Awesome. Anything else? We've now covered list methods, string methods. We covered for loops inside of a function, conditionals inside of a for loop inside of a function. We covered the break keyword inside of a for loop inside of a function. We covered the return inside of a for loop inside of a function. Anything else that you'd like to know about for tomorrow? Yes.
Or like the plus one when, well, like when it's like maybe like the for loop when.
For loop, yeah.
Like a list and like for it to not have like an error.
For it not to have an error with a list for loop plus one. And let's see. Let me see what you mean. So we have this list called my list, right? Kevin, Ismael, and Audrey. What you're saying is to have a for loop.
Like there's like an example before where like we're trying to like go through the list.
Yeah.
But the index wasn't.
I think I know what you're talking about. When things like index out of range.
Yeah.
Right? So, right now, if we were to do this, for I in range of length of my list, what's the first value of I? 0. And it goes all the way up to which number? 2. Right? So when we do it like this, we don't really have any errors because we're on purpose making sure that our range is all the way up to this list, right? Length of my list. Great. However, I think what you're talking about is the following. If you were trying to access my list, print my list, at position, the length of my list, what's the length of my list right now?
3.
3? So what's my list at position 3?
There's no.
Nothing there. You're going out of range. And that's when you get an error. 0, 1, 2, 3. No such thing as a 3. So when you run this, you get an error. Index out of range. Is this what you were talking about? Yeah, using a for loop, you have some indices. some index. You're checking to use that index inside of a list. But basically, depending on what you're putting for the position, right? You can't put 3 because 3 doesn't exist. What about 0? Will 0 work?
Yes.
Yep. It's Kevin. Will 1 work?
Yes.
Yes, this is mine. Will 2 work?
Yes.
Yes, that's Audra. Will -1 work?
Yes.
Yes. Negative indexing. What will be the value when I print out my list at position -1?
Audrey.
Audria. When we're negative indexing, we're not doing -0. We're doing negative indexing. This is -1. This is -2. And this is -3. Okay? Does that make sense? What's indexed at my list at -3?
Kevin.
Kevin. Way to go, Kevin. Way to go, Angel. Good. Good, good. That's negative indexing. Any other questions that you'd like to cover? Man, y'all are ready for this midterm or what? Man, oh man. No more questions? No questions on references and objects. No questions on string slicing, maybe? Let's do a quick string slice. Everyone likes a good slice. We have a string, and we're going to name it, at least mine. What happens if I print my string at position 3? What will be printed out?
It'll be an error because the index is only up to 2.
Let's try that out. It'll give you A, because we're checking my string. Sorry, this is my string at position 3, not my list.
Oh, yes, okay.
This is my string. String is Ismail. 0, 1, 2, 3, it's A. Cool. What if I were to do this? What this means with slicing, or sorry, if y'all were gonna work it out, let me know. Anyone have any guesses? Guess?
To print out ISM.
ISM. Let's try that out. ISM. Why is that?
Because the range is exclusive, so it doesn't count the third.
It doesn't count the number 3,
Yeah, number
right?
3, so it doesn't print out the
Yes. So we have this from I, S, M, A, E, L. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? This is the index 0 through 5. But when we do this, my string, and this, what this says is, I want to start off somewhere. I'm not giving it anything, so I'm just going to start off at the very beginning of the string. And I want to get a slice. I want to get everything all the way up to this number, exclusive. So what indices are we getting when we do this?
0 to 2.
0 to 2. 0, 1, and 2. Great. What if I were to do this? What would get printed? SM, right? SM, because when we have this, the number 1, that's inclusive. We start off at 1, 0, 1, S. We're going to grab everything all the way up to index 3, exclusive, SM, and that's it. What if we were to do this? What's index printed out?
S-M-A-E-L.
SMAEL. Because it says we're going to start off at number 1, and we're going to go all the way up, and I want everything all the way up until a certain number, There's no number given. Because there's no number given, it just goes all the way to the end. And it includes the end. Okay? It will include the end. So, when we do this, SMAEL. Oh, that's string slicing. Anything else? We'll do some. Any other questions before I go into some practice problems? Nice, no? We're going to go through these relatively quickly. We just did a bunch of stuff. Expressions. What is the value of the following expression? Feel free to write on paper and pencil. Feel free to get a chalk if you need some chalk to use the chalkboard or using your computer. What's going to happen when we do this? While y'all read that, I'm going to write this out. Any answers? Any answers? Oh, sorry.
Real quick, is there a Zachary in here? Zachary?
No.
Lost the wallet, we just found.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Damn, where's that? 2 minutes. What's the answer? False. Why? We go outside, right? First order of operation, parentheses. Let's do everything inside the parentheses first. Right? What is 3 plus 5 divided by 2? 4 divided by 2. First we do the 5 divided by 2, right? Because that's the order of operation. First we divide. 5 divided by 2 is what? 2. In this case 2, not 2.5. It's 2 because integer division, right? So this is 2. 3 plus 2? 5. Oh, this is 5. Is 5 not equal to 4?
True.
That's true. So all this gets into a true. Great. Now we're checking to see this. Okay, we have some more parentheses. What's 2 to the power of 3? 8. Is that equal to 3 to the power of 2? What's 3 to the power of 2? 9. Is 9 equal to 8?
No.
No. This is false. Now we're going to do and. What's the length of 0? The string 0.
1.
1, because it's a string. The string is 0, and the string has one thing in it. That's 1. So is 1 equal to 0?
False.
That's false. False and false is?
False.
True or false is? True. Let's try that out. Just to make sure that we didn't do our math wrong. Terminal, click there. Python, we only have 1 minute or no minutes left. True. Okay. Make sure that you're looking at the parentheses. Make sure that you're going step by step. And make sure that you're doing the order of operations. Okay. First parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division, then addition and subtraction. And also when we're looking at the ands and ors, right? This said this and that. So false and whatever it is. False and whatever is going to be false. Then we had an or here. All of this ended up being true. So that means a true or false is true. Okay? We are now at time. Thank you so much, everybody. Please make sure to go and look at these slides as practice. Okay? This will help you out. A lot of these questions are pretty similar to what you're going to be finding in the midterm. So check out these slides. Check out the practice midterm that we provided for you all. Those are going to be pretty similar to what you're going to be seeing. Okay? There's also going to be some explain and plain language questions. So it's going to be something like you have a mystery function, right? Like def mystery, and then it's going to do stuff. Your answer should not be the mystery function goes and does stuff. You have to be very descriptive of what we want for explain and plain language questions. So if we were to do this for I in range of length of my list at position I, this is 1, and we have my list here. The answer to this should not